So I started hiring coaches in 2017. They were all spiritual. It was to support me in my business, but they were all spiritual coaches. They knew so much. They knew what I know today that I didn't know then. And so in 2021, I attended an event in Miami that changed the trajectory of my life because I got a divine message. While I was there for the 3 days, I learned a lot. I had epiphany. And then the final night, I was washing my hands, I kid you not, in this Italian restaurant in Miami, and I got a message, "You belong in Florida." It was under the water, and it was the strongest message I ever heard. It said, "You belong in Florida." Came back to the table, told the two friends that I was sitting with, "Wow, you're moving to Florida? That's amazing." I was living in Michigan at the time. And I said, "I don't know how that's gonna work," because I had so much fear. And I still took the actions, took the steps, and it all worked out. It all fell into place. And I came here and I was gonna be a renter. I sold my home of 25 years, the same garage I pulled into for 25 years, and now I'm gonna be a renter. It's a whole thing, you know, like the fears. And I hired a coach on the spot in Miami because everybody there were coaches. I was in real estate and all these women were coaches, and I was like, why am I not a coach? I love this stuff. This is my passion. I've been studying it for years. And so ultimately, I hired someone on the spot to start a coaching business, which she was more of a support. I know that Carisha's probably heard the story a million times, but so she actually was more of a support. And when I got here, I was walking dogs and driving Lyft and doing everything because I was still in scarcity mindset. And today we're going to talk a lot about the abundance and how we live in an abundant universe. And there's abundance everywhere, and there's money everywhere, and there's love everywhere, and there's no shortage. It's really about unblocking what's blocking your abundance. So from 0 to 7, we are in theta, our brain is in theta state. And from 0 to 7, you are a sponge, you are a recorder, and you're taking on all the beliefs and the energies of your caregivers and the people who have raised you. And they all have good intentions. My parents had wonderful intentions. They put fear in me, but it was to protect me, right? But it wasn't supportive, and I was very shy as a child. I cannot even tell you, I could have never imagined having a podcast, doing what I'm doing. And ultimately, it's been a giant growth journey being here in Florida. I've been cocooning in my apartment most of the time for the first few years with my dog, and learning and growing and evolving and crying and healing, because when we feel, we heal. And it's very powerful. But so when we're young, we're recorders, and the truth is, we are not this body, we're not this mind. We are energetic, spiritual beings having a human experience. We are not the body or the mind, okay? So we are energetic, spiritual beings, and we live in a vibrational universe, so it's all energy. It's all energy. And I started to tell Aisha that I might have ruined why people weren't showing up. I'm just being 100% transparent. I said to her, I may have, because of energy, everything is energy. And I was so excited today, and I went on my podcast and recorded a solo episode, and I was sharing in my WhatsApp group, and I slept great last night, and I was just so excited. Because why? Because I'm doing my passion and purpose work. Because we are all here on purpose and for a purpose. We are all worthy beings just for breathing. You don't have to earn your worth, which I thought my entire life I was earning my worth, my entire life. Who can resonate with the do so that you can feel something? Yeah. And so it's a female program for sure, because our whole lives, be a good mother, be a good daughter, help this person, help that person, you get rewarded. You get rewarded for these things. And I'll never forget recently hearing a story, a brief story, a woman on a podcast was sharing that when she was 4, she was in an accident and her face got cut and she was at the ER. And the doctors were saying, she's so good, because she wasn't carrying on, she wasn't crying. So she got a message, oh, when I don't show my emotions, I'm rewarded. When I'm calm and quiet, I'm rewarded. She's so good. So anyway, this is just an awareness. Now, we live in this vibrational universe. Everything is energy. The reason I said that I thought I may have, because I was like, there's something called Kabbalah, which is Jewish. It's rooted in Judaism. Pardon?
I was just giving you a word.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mysticism.
Yeah, mysticism. It's mystical. It's true. It's literally, I feel like all of it. And I've been studying it, and ultimately, everything is energy, which I said earlier. And so, because everything's energy, if I'm doing what I love, like I told you guys, I was dancing. She knows. I was in here dancing with her. But why? Because I am doing what I love, and energy. So I ask God, my intention for this is to work through me to serve all of you, to create what you guys came here for, to serve in that way. And so I don't really have a script. I'm just going to invite you to, number one, we'll quickly, does anyone have a question right now they want to ask? Or okay. So my Worthy program that I sell and serve people with is, number one, this is how you manifest what you want. Number one is, what do you want? So what do you desire? You cannot manifest if you don't know what you want. That's the number one first thing, is to getting clear on what you desire. So when I say, well, you could say, well, I want to build my real estate business, but how many clients, how many closings, for how long, who do you want to serve? You know, these are the questions to ask. How much income per month, how many closings, you know, get specific, right? And what do you feel when you say to yourself, okay, but does that sound like stress when I just said those things? Does it sound like amazing and great? Or what's the block there, right? Why should it, you know, and you also have to feel worthy, because that's a block. If you don't feel worthy to receive the closings, the cash, she's also in real estate, it's like, you're not gonna have it. You're not gonna have it. I had an intuitive message saying that somebody was gonna cancel, at least I knew that. Well, one canceled and one of his, 2 people haven't showed up that said they were coming, but things happen and it's not personal. And I have to, I check in with me. I am reparenting myself. We all have to do this. We have to know what we want, and we have to give ourselves grace. If I felt like crying because no one, you know, you guys came, so I'm grateful, but say you didn't, say you didn't, it was just, you know, it's disappointing. It hurt, it's disappointing. I put effort, but that's part of the building a business. That's part of the human experience. If I was gonna quit, which I was taught to quit. My whole life I was not taught to go for it and keep going and like, these are truths like consistency and resilience and all these things. So but anyway, so number one I want to share is that you have to get specific on what you want. This is the number one in any teaching of manifestation, okay? And then this is my brand. Because we teach what we need. Let's be real. We teach what we need. So I could hear that I'm worthy, and I could hear that I'm good enough, but my whole life I was programmed that I wasn't good enough. I learned that when I was locked out of the house at 5 years old, banging on the door in the rain, screaming and crying. I learned that I wasn't enough when I wanted those jeans that my mother at age 12 said, no, you can't afford them, or no, they're too expensive. These are different messages we get throughout our life that tell us we're not enough. Sure.
That would just remind me of something if you want me to share.
Of course.
And it's interesting because I know I'm 10 years older than you, so there's like different times in everybody's life. The experiences are different because of the trends also in the culture. And at that, when you said the gene thing, I was teaching high school out of college for a short while, and I loved it. I was teaching art, and I had a student that, well, they all at that point in time used to confide in me and talk to me about everything. And one young, and Jordache jeans, I think I'm probably older than all of you.
I remember them.
Jordache jeans were like the jeans at the time. It was like just before Guess jeans came out and hit the market, but Jordache was like the big whatever. And one of the girls in my class that was a student of mine told me that she was so excited. Her mother took on a second job just so she could buy her daughter a pair of Jordache jeans. And I thought, oh my God, sorry, I couldn't find the place.
It's okay, we're grateful you're
Walking
here.
like 20 minutes.
Oh,
It happens.
Yeah.
I just thought this is like a big shift in values because my age range, that just would not have happened. My parents would have made me get a job to earn them myself.
yeah.
So when you mentioned that, it made me think of that, and also that her young mother was willing to do that, and what was she really teaching her daughter?
Exactly.
So even though
Her mother was trying to.
what your mother did, it wasn't all bad, your perception of it was, and believe me, I know because I know. But it's just very interesting the impact our parents can have on us when they don't realize at all what they were doing.
Oh, of course
and I
not.
think, and of course that still happens today. with
Oh.
younger
If you're a parent today, you can.
Right.
We do the best we
You don't
can
have
with.
it all together.
Right, but we
Right.
continue to give and do for our children because we think we're loving them, but we're really not usually. It's just how it was handled. And my mother didn't want to tell me that I wasn't good enough, but that was the message that you get when you see your girlfriend has all these things, and her mother would buy her clothes and set it all out for her, and we'd walk in her bedroom to play, and she'd have clothes, brand new clothes set out on her bed that her mother bought her, and I was like, oh, I wish I had that, because like I have to beg for clothes, but I did go and babysit, and I did learn how to make money. We're talking about, Eddie, to bring you back up to speed a little bit, we briefly were talking about that we teach what we need. So Worthy and Abundant is my brand, and that's, my podcast. And so I was talking about, well, we're not our bodies or our minds. We're energetic spiritual beings having a human experience. We live in a vibrational universe, and everything is energy. And ultimately, to manifest anything you want, number one, this is my work, is what do you want, and getting clear. And then we were talking about getting specific on what you want, like you're in mortgages. So you can be like, well, I want to close these many properties, and I want to, make this much money. But when you hear that, is it like, that sounds like a lot of stress. That's going to take me away from my family. That's going to da-da-da. So those are blocks because we live in this abundance. We live in an abundant universe. There's money everywhere. There's air, there's love, there's no limitation with it, but our limitation is in here. It's in the mind. And we were programmed from 0 to 7. And our brains were in theta state, so we were programmed from 0 to 7. The energies, the parents, the caregivers, whoever cared for you when you were little, you were taking on this information. So I was sharing that if you think you're not worthy, that's another block. So if you think you're not good enough to close 10 loans a month or whatever your dream or desire is, you will block it somehow, some way, you will sabotage. And then, I learned when I was locked out of the house, raining, pouring, 5 years old. I didn't know it then, but it's like, it's in the subconscious, it's programmed in. you know, or when I wanted the jeans at 12 years old, and she's like, those are too expensive. But see, I grew up in a house, and I love my parents today. My dad's gone, and I think, you know, I as an adult now, 58 years old, I choose to look at the good that I received and be thankful, because I wasn't in an alcoholic home. I mean, there's so many things that are worse, but my dad grew up in the Depression, so he had trauma. And it was like, you know, turn off the lights, turn off the water, and oh, you paid for this, and like, you know, it was just, yeah, it was rough. My dad, my mother, you know, just, it was very hard. So he had scarcity thinking, even though we had money, we had a home, we had money, but he was so fearful of loss, you know? But money is also infinite. It's like you give, you receive. Money, you know, it's all beliefs, everything's beliefs. So, I would love if you want to share, Edgy, because you're new, like a little bit about your intention of coming here and who you are, just because everyone else had a chance to share.
Okay, hi everyone. First time here.